Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
I'm the brother Bayan.
This is brother Kazakia.
Here from the GMS New Orleans camp. Here to bring you a quick lesson. Prior to get started, I want to give infinite honors and prayers to
Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua by Hashem Rakakadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who taught us the truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Yuakim, Yuakwat, which is brothers and sisters in the Hebrew that believe. Okay, and for this lesson here, me and the brother, through the Spirit, found this quote, and pretty much is going to build off of that. And the quote starts off saying, "Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most." Okay, discipline is choosing it's like discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Okay, so with that being said, first and foremost, you have to have discipline, in order to be a follower of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Okay, that's the only way you could be a disciple. All right, is to have discipline. Okay, but also knowing this, what does that discipline consist of? Keeping your eyes on the prize. Okay, keeping your eyes on your future in the kingdom. Okay, because we know that here in this place called America, aka Babylon in the scriptures, right, we know that this place is going to be burned up. All right, so matter of fact, we could kick it off with this with the Matthew 6.
Matthew 6.
Yeah, it's going to roll right into it. But we know that whatever you truly put your effort in, that's what you're going to reap at the end of the day. Okay, 6 and 19, but the point is going to be in 21.
This is Matthew 6 and verse 19. It says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also."
And that's the point that I wanted, where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be also. Okay, so if you have the discipline, all right, to being the greatest NBA player, NFL player, any type of star, in this life that we're living in right now, all right, that's what you're going to reap. All right, but as a man of the Lord, we're seeking the discipline of not being a friend of this world, not being a part of this world, all right, being very, very far and holy, away from all doings of the wickedness and madness that goes on here. And that requires discipline, okay? And it's going to be a result on both sides, okay? And you just have to choose what side you want to be on,
Right, because ultimately, discipline pretty much, goes into self-control. Okay, the Lord teaches us basically how to tame the spirit, so to speak, right? You know what I'm saying? We get charge and rule over our spirit, so we know how to navigate in the spirit. Okay, you know what I'm saying? We don't spend our time, like the scriptures say, walking in the flesh, man. Okay, we spend our time walking in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai.
Yep.
All right.
Can you hold Romans 8 and 5 for me, Baba Shah? And I had that definition on Google too, on the AI overview of discipline. It says, discipline refers to the practice of maintaining control through self-restraint or enforced punishment, the quality of self-control and orderly conduct or a field of study or training. All right, as a quality enables individuals to follow rules and achieve goals through consistent effort. All right, and in this truth, man, you have to be consistent. All right, you have to be consistent on what you're doing to build up your spirit, while cutting off the things of the flesh. All right, because everything that you're going to be doing with your flesh is pretty much going to lead to your death at the end of the day. All right, it's going to lead to your fall. All right, and it's very easy to do so here in America, in a place where they tell you, you can do what you want, live how you want to live, YOLO, You only have one life, so live it up to whatever you think that you should do. All right, but having the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures, we know, and the Lord tells us what to keep ourselves away from and what to keep our mind on.
Right. We basically have to indulge ourselves spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't be given over to what fleshly desires, man. Those desires, those dainty things. That's what Esau offers.
Yep.
He offers you things that he know is very pleasing to the flesh. Okay. But when we come into this truth and enter in, slowly yet steadily, we mold ourselves to be very spiritual men, man. And it takes it doesn't. Some people, it may happen a lot sooner than others, but for the most part, it doesn't happen overnight because you're constantly killing off certain aspects of you that used to exist, right?
Yeah. And that's, again, land backing off of you, brother. That's something that's very, very hard to say to do, because you got to imagine brothers was coming in the truth. Some brothers may have came in younger, than others, but some brothers coming in this thing around 25, 30 years old, where they have majority of their life living in the flesh. All right. So just to undo it like that, come on, that's damn near an impossible task right now, especially with us not having the law, statutes, commandments in our inward parts.
Right. I just want to add on to you. I was just talking to the brother the other day about, the things that I used to do, and I told him, I was like, I never really read anything prior to the truth. I wasn't picking up no books, no magazines, no newspaper. I don't care what it was. I wasn't reading. And even if I did have to read, like if I was going to college or something, I'll try to find a way around it. You know what I'm saying? Shortcut it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But coming into the truth, I had to do what? As a spiritual man, I had to read, man. I remember they had a brother, this is, just giving a little quick testimony. They had a brother that was trying to teach another brother about the truth and all these different things. The other younger man, began to become more studious. You know what I'm saying? He started asking all these different questions. But the guy that was once teaching him the truth, he didn't read, but he told him to read.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense, man.
Right.
So like I said, there's certain aspects and certain things that go along with this truth, right? You got to cut off, man. You know what I'm saying? In order to become what? A disciple of Yahweh Shema Shah. Be disciplined, man.
Yep. You could hit that Romans 8:5 for me? Kind of back up the point we said.
All right, this is Romans chapter 8 and verse 5. It says, "For they that are of the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit."
You could just read 6 and that'll be it on that.
Verse 6, it says, "For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace."
All right. So again, in verse 5, it talks about, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. So if that's something that all you do is put your time towards, fleshly things, all right, that's going to stay on your mind constantly. All right. So the part of this battle is denying that old man. All right. Trying to deny as much breathing room that you can. All right. You're not going to fully get rid of the old man over here, just due to us being here in the flesh. So we have to deal with sin. We have to deal with going off. Okay. But you can damn near fight, against those urges. All right. And because what it says in the latter verse of verse 5, it says, "In the things but they that are after the Spirit do the things of the Spirit." All right. So that's why brothers constantly, tell you to keep reading, keep reading, keep watching videos, keep watching, keep talking to brothers, keep in the loop of the truth. All right. The more that you stay in the loop of the truth, that's how you maintain, the spirit, keep the spirit flowing,
Right. Like you said, earlier you made a point where, people who basically do things in the world, right? You have people like LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, pretty much anybody who plays sports or entertainment, anything, that's pursuing what? Perfection, man. They're pursuing things that are of the flesh. Okay. But like you were saying just now, we're pursuing things that are what? That are spiritual things.
Yep.
Right? And when you think about it, it's really heavy, man. That's a a super heavy thing because there's people that probably would, I'll say this, that will unalive people for what's in your mind, man.
Right.
For what the things that when you go through, the elders and apostles and the different prophets, man, the things that they contain within their mind is completely unvaluable.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. So, like the brother was saying, continue to be after the things that are of the spirit, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you do that, you'll realize the spirit will reveal more and more to you over the course of time, where you could grow in strength, man.
Yes, brother. Could you hold on deck 1 Corinthians 9 and 24, since you kind of mentioned with LeBron and stuff, the athletes or what the so-called great people of this world, what they strive for with their discipline versus, what we need to be striving for. But before you get that, back in Romans 8 and 6, it says, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. All right. Again, what we said earlier in the video, to be carnally minded and to deal with your flesh majority, in the majority, it's not going to end up good for you. All right. And it's gonna be to your death, man. But to be spiritually minded is life and peace. All right, that's the end goal. That's what we want and the desire. All right, we know that this is not the end of the road here in this hellhole that we're in, man. All right, so we know that if we continue to chase after wisdom, chase after Sophia, chase after all of the things that the Lord says is pleasing, that's what's going to end up with us having that life, peace, and that crown on our head at the end of the day, Lord willing, But
I got a quick precept to back you up real quick. This is Galatians 5 in verse 16. It says, "This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." Verse 17 it says, "For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would." Oh, I'm gonna go one more. Verse 18 it says, "But if ye be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law." You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, man, walk in the spirit, man. Do the things that pertain to the truth. Okay. Do your videos, man. Do your reading. Okay. Go through the prophecies. Go through the breakdowns. Do whatever it takes, man, to constantly be what? Indulging yourself in the spirit, man. Eating off the spiritual table. Get the good fruits, man. Okay. And if you're doing those things, okay, your mindset won't be on, because the scriptures talk about what? You're keeping your eyes single, man. You know what I'm saying? So stay what? Focus on the prophecies, right? Focus on, the word, man. Yep. And you won't have to worry about the lust or the flesh taking over, man. Because it starts with the lust, man.
Right.
It starts with you being tempted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, man, if your mind is on going out every day, every weekend, that's what you're going to reap at the end of the day. You're going to reap all of those things that comes with being a party goer, being the life of the party. All right. But that's not the goal, man. All right. That's just something, of you, again, what you mentioned, Biden with Esau Edom's theme of life, and it's a microwavable pleasure that you get from it. All right. It's something that's gonna go by real quick, and then you're just gonna be searching for more and more, and it's gonna put you in a hole deeper and deeper to get you fucked up at the end of the day.
Right.
All right. But what we're looking for? We're looking for that full course meal at the end of the day, something that's going to fulfill us, of each one of our desires, and even things that we can't even imagine right now. All right. That's the discipline. That's the road of discipline that me and his brother are speaking about, and would say to you, brothers and sisters, you sincere brothers and sisters, to do likewise.
Right. So we go into the mode of what? Doing the work, man. We're like, the spiritual evil genius of Mad Hatter. We get into the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? And we're constantly doing what? The work of Yahweh Shem Al Shai, man. And like I said earlier, you gotta have self-control for that. You can't, be all over the place, man. You gotta get to, the so-called the nitty-gritty, the points, man. Like I said, discipline, over what? For the most part, what? Motivation, man. You know what I'm saying? You're motivated to do something, the motivation does what? It dies out over the course of time, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You got a guy, right? He gets a gym membership. Okay, he'll go for 3 months hard as hell,
Yeah.
and he'll miss one day. He'll miss one day, and then one day turns into 2 days.
All right.
And then he might go the rest of the week, and then he may miss 3 days the next week. But when you discipline to do something, you're gonna do it no matter what, man.
Right.
There've been times when, brothers. I'm pretty sure there's been times when brothers said, I don't feel like it, man. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that, right? But that's the flesh warring against the spirit, man.
Yeah.
What we read earlier, But the point is, if you're a man of the Lord, the spirit gonna pretty much make you do it, man. Right? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna keep you on that path, man.
Yeah. And knowing, that we are prisoners, man. We are prisoners of Yahweh by Shemi Shai. All right. So that being said, again, brothers is about to be on their way to work. Brothers just getting off of work. Sometimes this be the last thing on your mind. You thinking in your head that, man, I want to go home and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden it clicks in your mind, man, if I go home and go to sleep, I'm not gonna get nothing done.
Right.
I'm gonna feel guilty that I didn't get this lesson off. I didn't do the work of the Lord. And you just have to deal with that guilty thought, throughout the day until you do the work.
Right.
And
I'm glad you brought that up because the Lord does that to his men, man. He gives them the spirit of guilt. You know what I'm saying? A conscious, constantly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't feel good until you did, what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Then you may feel like, okay, I did my videos, I read, I studied, all the rest of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can go and go to sleep, right? Or eat some food, or maybe watch a TV show or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Because you've done the work, man. You put the work first. Okay.
Yeah, you got the 1 Corinthians?
Yeah, he said
9:24.
Yeah, 9:24. It's 1 Corinthians 9:24. It says, "Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize.
Mm-hmm.
So run, that ye may obtain."
Yeah. So, what are we trying to obtain? That prize of the crown, being the first fruits, being of that hopefully elect, the 144,000 specifically. We want to be the first, of the men that has been doing what they're supposed to be doing, from once they got the green light to do so, But you can keep going.
Verse 25, and it says, "And every man that striveth for the masteries is temperate in all things.
Mm-hmm.
Now they that do it to obtain a corruptible crown, be we an incorruptible."
And that's again what me and the brother was speaking of earlier, that you could compare to these athletes. These athletes that got in these positions, man, they grind, man. They grind, no sleep, no life. If that's what their mind is on, achieving that goal of being the best sports player or whatever field that they're in, they're going to do so. All right, and don't care about the losses that they're going to get, inside of the world. All right, they have the perfect balance of what they need to overcome and become the greatest in their field. All right, so how much more us of the men that are chosen, handpicked by Yahweh by Shemi Shai. If you have the opportunity of a lifetime like we do, it'll behoove you to lock in, man, and balance yourself out to get that incorruptible crown. All right, because that corruptible crown is gonna dissolve and pass away. All right, we're not going to be speaking about LeBron and Michael Jordan and Kobe and they rings and what they did here. Like that's going to be not spoken of at all. It might be a joke to us, you know, in the kingdom, you know. But being chosen and being of the elect, you know, that's going to be written about in the books forever, you know, that incorruptible, you know.
Right, Khan. And like you were saying, you know, we basically going into the time of constant work, man. We just continually working, right? You know what I'm saying? Now we have our daily duties as far as, you know, whatever, paying bills and stuff like that, but the true work is within the scriptures, man. You know, and to sustain yourself in the spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna, at some point during the course of the day, you're gonna have to walk in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to be, your mind is gonna be on other things that pertain to the flesh. It's just that simple. But the point is to stay disciplined as far as doing what? The work, the scriptures, man. You know what I'm saying? Like the scriptures say, basically, matter of fact, I'm gonna get it real quick. I think it's quick precept. See if I can find this. Proverbs. Yeah, bear with me. 25 and 28, yeah.
Come on, man. I didn't want to say it, but I had it. Brother, it's right here, bro.
Oh, God.
The whole time, yeah. It was on the list. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, God. This is on Proverbs 25 and 28. It says, he that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls, man. So what, man? You know, the spirit of the person is what? It's completely vulnerable, right? When you have no control over your spirit, man, you know, you're being swayed back and forth, okay? You know what I'm saying? You're so-called easily penetrable. There's nothing there to protect you, right? You need the spirit and the hedge of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah to guard you so that you don't get all these thoughts constantly, you know? And if you are getting those thoughts, you need to fast, you need to repent, or whatever the case may be. If it's just constant, man, you know, because you got, you know, unclean spirits on you, man. You know, that's another thing we deal with too within the walk. But, you know, a disciplined man is going to have that protection, man. He's going to have that guard. He's going to have that hedge. So where he's going to be a city built with walls, man. Man, he gonna have archers and stuff on top of that wall. Anything coming through within a distance, he gonna know about it. Somebody blowing a horn, you know, and that just goes into what? Recognizing, you know, old habits, different sins you deal with, different lusts, and you know, also Satan gonna throw new things at you that he knows that's so-called pleasing to the flesh, man. But you know, through you working on yourself within the scriptures. Okay, you understanding what the Lord say about putting on, therefore, as the elect. Okay, and he goes through all these different character traits that you need to basically mortify or become. Okay, you know, all of those things are written within the scriptures, man.
You know, if I could back you up too, brother. You know, like you said with the analogy being here with he that hath the rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. All right. You know, again, what you're saying without the walls is going to be easy to penetrate, you know, through and fuck you up, you know. But if you have those walls up, it's pretty much going to protect you, man. But again, knowing that we're in this flesh, man. All right. It's some things that's going to get through. All right. If we can be completely holy here and do everything of the spirit, we would do so. All right, but that's not the case. The fact that we have to still, you know, fight, you know, that'll be an easy battle if we can just overcome everything here. But the Lord still wants us to fight, you know, these bad thoughts that we get. You know, Satan is still, you know, obligated to test us, you know, in those strenuous matters, you know, however it may come, you know. But again, the Lord is still requiring us to look up to him and pray to him to keep us away from these things. Because if it was just up to us, again, we would just completely just be straight, you know?
Right. And Paul talked about that, man. You know what I'm saying? Really, you know, ultimately, if it was up to us you know what I'm saying, we would be perfect, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We would say, okay, I don't want to sin no more. I just want to be completely righteous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because what I'm going through, it's just aggravating.
Right.
It's aggravating to see yourself fall and you get back up and you're like, I ain't gonna fall no more. But then, you know, a year later you fall again.
Yes,
and you're like, dang, man, like, you know, this ain't the life that I want to live, so to speak.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get this precept just real quick.
Mm-hmm.
This is Matthew 5 in verse 48. It says, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Right? So basically going into what? A complete man. You know what I'm saying? The scripture is really going into what? It's going into striving for perfection.
Right.
Okay? Are you going to be complete? No, you're not going to be complete. That's the purpose of Yahushua.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of Yahushua is to do what? You know, basically, you know, save the elect of the nation of Israel, you know, beam you up and change your vile body, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're going from a incorruptible, a corruptible body to an incorruptible body, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But the point is to keep striving, man. Keep pushing, keep going.
Yeah.
You know?
If I could back you up, because that was a beautiful precept you brought out. You know, people have the misconception of that word perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect does not mean without flaw. All right, if somebody think that something is perfect, and you know, in this world, they think that it's nothing wrong with it at all. But perfect just goes into being complete.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But are you still on Corinthians for me?
I could grab what you wanted to go more in that Corinthians.
Yeah, all the way to 27.
What's that 9 now?
Yeah, 9 and you was at 26.
You want me to reread 26?
I'll
go to 20. I mean 25.
You could just jump straight to 27. Get to the point.
All right, this is 1 Corinthians 9 and 27. It says, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself be a castaway.
Gone. And the point, you know, I want to get
Slaki, it said, I myself should be a castaway.
Con. Yeah, you know, the point that I wanted to get in is, but I keep my body and bring it under subjection. All right, that's what we're doing. We're fighting to keep our body under subjection. All right, and the Lord wants to see us do that. You know, that's something that's delightful for the Lord to see that you're fighting. All right, just how, you know, the brother was just going into. Yeah, we're gonna fall, and what it tells you that a just man falls seven times. That's right. You know, but he gets up. That's the main part of this battle. You know, the Lord wants to see you get up. That's how you prove yourself to be, you know, a man of the Lord. You know,
right? The scriptures say basically, and I'm gonna say this in a spiritual sense. It says, "Seek not death in the era of your life." You know what I'm saying? Which means if you fall, you know what I'm saying, don't beat yourself up over falling. Like you said, get back up and keep going.
Right.
But if you beat yourself up, if you allow heaviness, you know, to enter into the spirit, you know what I'm saying, with, you know, and different things of that nature, it can cause you to stay down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And Satan knows, man. He knows, you know, he knows the brother that's easy to take out, and he know the brothers that has armor on but have little pinpoint holes, man. And he got to work on those, basically, you know, penetrating those holes, man, to get that brother to fall. You know.
Yep. You got another one? Or?
I didn't really have. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had.
I got 2 more.
Go ahead.
I was just asking. Hit me with the 1 Peter 3 and 12.
Okay.
The point is in 14.
Of course.
Yeah, I hate the small books. The small books, you flip straight over it.
Yeah, bro. This is you said 1 Peter 3 and 12?
Yeah, 3 and 12.
All right, this is 1 Peter 3 and 12. It says, for the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil.
That's plain. You can keep going.
And who is he that will harm you? if ye be followers of that which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But, and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye.
Mm-hmm.
And be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled.
But it says here in 14, suffer for righteousness' sake. All right. So part of that discipline is you're going to have to suffer, man. All right. So if you're going to have to suffer, are you going to suffer for bullshit, or are you going to suffer for righteousness? All right. Would you rather suffer to live here in America for another fucking 1,000 years? How these dumbasses think that we're going to be here, or would you rather suffer for this short being time, for everlasting glory? All right. They got the what was that in Hebrews when it talks about Moses, rather than
Hebrews 11.
You can get that from Baba Gashar, because it'll fall right into it. Moses being the son of Pharaoh, rather than be in that role, and live gloriously, for that short being time, Moses rather choose affliction to be with his people to receive the everlasting glory, man. Roughly paraphrasing, but the brother about to get a precept. I believe it's like 11, Hebrews 11 or something.
Yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah, 11 and 24 and 26. All right, here we go. All right, this is Hebrews 11 and verse 24. It says, by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
Pleasure of sin for a season, man. That's all this is for. This hell that we're going through, this is nothing but a blink of an eye, for the Lord. All right. We're on 2 different time zones. 1,000 years for us, according to the book of Peter, 1,000 years for us is nothing but a day for the Lord. All right. So just this on a year-to-year basis that we're going through this suffering, this ain't nothing, man. All right. And just the glory that's going to come at the end of it, it doesn't compare, But the last precept to end it off with, 2 Timothy 4 and 7. We get out of here with that one.
All right, this is 2 Timothy 4 and verse 7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing.
So the goal, man, is to finish this race, man. Continue to fight this good fight and finish this race, right? Finish this course, all right? Because it says in verse 8, henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, all right? That's a beautiful moment that I know brothers, long and pray for, to be a part of that ceremony, man. To be kneeling down and the Lord to place that crown over your head and tell you good job, tell you that you've completed it. I've sat here and I watched, watched everything that you have done, and now you're here at this moment reaping, the glory now. That's going to be a beautiful moment, man. All right. So that's just something that, you brothers need to continue to have in your mindset, man. Knowing that these things are temporary and it's going to burn away, set your sights higher, man. And further, further beyond, with the kingdom, our kingdom, But you got anything?
Yeah, man. Just laying back and off of pretty much what we was going over today. Hey, look, you brothers, stay disciplined, man. You're gonna need to be disciplined in order to basically pass the test. We talked about running a race, right? You want to finish the race. You want to make it to the finish line. You want the crown. You want to receive palms in your hand okay? All the necessary things that come with what? Basically winning the prize or getting a penny, the kingdom of heaven, okay? You know what I'm saying? Stay disciplined, man. Stay focused, okay? Have control and rule over your spirit, and the Lord will do the rest. All right?
Yes, sir. So if that's everything, we pray that this lesson was edifying. Trying to get out of here, we want to give infinite honors and prayers to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who taught us the truth. Peace and citation to the hopeful elect. You Akim, you Akwat, with your brothers and sisters in the Hebrew that believe. Shalom.
Shalom.